The water crisis happening now in Jackson raises questions for cities and rural water associations in Northeast Mississippi and across the U.S. Right now this morning we have a live interview with Mike Faulkner. He's with Engineering Solutions Incorporated, which has offices in Tupelo and Pontotoc. Good morning, Mr. Faulkner. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning.
So how can a city such as Jackson get to this situation? I mean, how does this happen? A water system, any type of critical infrastructure can get to this point for that matter?
Well, that's a key question, and obviously it's not something that happened overnight. Jackson's been dealing with water woes for a number of years now. It's been well reported, and while I don't have all the specific details, water infrastructure is kind of a partnership. It takes a system that's designed properly, operated properly, but it also takes good management to make sure that there's adequate resources, maintenance is being taken care of, reporting is being done properly, and all of that has to work together. If any element of that starts to slip, then you have problems.
Well, right now the Jackson situation isn't the only one happening in the U.S. There are some other areas dealing with this. Do you think the crisis in Jackson reflects overall infrastructure problems in the U.S.? Do you think this is not just in these areas? I mean, could this happen other places? What are your views on that?
Well, I think it's indicative of a nationwide problem. Infrastructure investment is lagging behind seriously nationwide, and I think the last time the American Society of Civil Engineers does an annual infrastructure survey for the country, and I think in 2020 they rated most of the infrastructure in Mississippi, for example, as in the D range on a through F scale. So we got a lot of work to do, but it's pretty common nationwide. Water infrastructure is underground typically, and so it's kind of an out of sight, out of mind problem until you have an emergent situation like we have in Jackson right now, and then it becomes critical. The problem is that the solutions are not typically overnight fixes. It takes a little time. It takes a lot of money. These systems are expensive, and so good maintenance is very important. Replacement as needed as systems grow and age. Most of our communities in North Mississippi are in much better shape, but they are aging. A lot of the water lines that we use in our communities are 50 years old. So, over time they need to be replaced, and it just takes good management, planning, a lot of money.
Okay. Well, on that note, in addition to what we already have, do you think we're going to need a lot more money to help with these systems, and where would that money come from?
Well, absolutely going to need a lot more money. Back in 2015, EPA put out a report that said Mississippi needed to invest $4.8 billion in water infrastructure. Obviously, Mississippi doesn't have $4.8 billion. Where's that money going to come from? And of course, it doesn't all have to be done in one bite, but that's $250 million a year that has to come from somewhere. Nobody likes to pay taxes. And, the answer has, in a lot of places, been let's rely on the federal government. And that's not always the best answer. Those funds get stretched just like everything else. And so, and it's all tax dollars. So communities are having to start be more proactive, raising water and sewer rates, which I know people complain about, but drinking water is a necessity. Some of the other things, that we spend money on may not be, but drinking water is certainly, a necessity of life, and having clean drinking water is certainly a luxury that we enjoy, and we're going to have to pay to maintain that.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you for your time this morning, Mr. Faulkner. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.